Hello and welcome back to my craft room, and welcome to almost the last session in our colour inspiration journal adventure. I've got one more idea to throw at you today, one more little exercise for you to have a go at if you would like to, and then next week I'm going to be summing the whole thing up and throwing you a challenge going forward. So it's kind of the last chapter, but not the end, I hope. And then after that, what I'm hoping is we'll all be working on various projects inspired by what we've collected together during the course of this process, and I hope you'll keep sharing them in the Discord community and the Facebook group. It's just been brilliant to see what people are coming up with, and I'm going to sleep and waking up thinking of ideas coming out of this. So let me show you what I've been up to this week first. I've got to be reasonably quick because I have to go and catch a bus in a bit. Going off for lunch with Tom today. Nice. Here's my my little journal so far. It's getting a bit fat. I will carry on. Now I'm in the habit of doing this, I would definitely be carrying on keeping this journal. I definitely will have to take a few pages out to make space. You can see it's getting a bit alligator already. So last time we were looking at my mood board. Oh, I've got an escaped butterfly. Inspired by my granny's teacup, which I've managed to leave downstairs. But that's okay because I have now done a little watercolour sketch of it to remind myself it's not a very realistic sketch, but it's got the feel of it. And this was my sort of version of the pattern on the cup. Here's where I made all the notes of different elements and things I might pull out of my mood board. And here's where I pulled my palette of colours off the teacup. You know, if you're working on a poem, you'd pull together the colours that come to your mind's eye when you read that poem, or evoke the kind of mood that poem gives you. Suggested last time that you might like to have a go at kind of mixing colours without blending them, kind of like some of the Impressionist artists did. So by laying colours side by side, whether in using different marks, if you're working just with art supplies, or by using stitches as your marks. So just by laying the colours side by side and over the top of each other, you create this lovely blended but not blended look. So I just had a little go at some ideas with my art supplies. I really like this effect and I would love to do it in stitch. I always end up doing things in rainbow order. This was using little dots. So this is just straight lines with coloured pencils. This was little dots with markers, and I had a go at going from yellow through greens to blue to purple to magenta, so that there isn't a kind of a single point where they don't kind of blend nicely into each other. And then I put the opposite ends together here, and then I tried, so that's like a mustard yellow and a purple. I tried it with a darker purple, then tried it with a really light purple, and you can see that there the purple dominates and there the yellow dominates, and that's because of the tonal value, I guess. Here we talked about tertiary colours a little bit last time, so I tried creating a tertiary colour by hatching 3 of my secondary colours together. So you should be able to get a tertiary colour by mixing 2 secondary colours or 3 primary colours. Here I used wax crayons and then just did a wash of a marker over the top in a contrasting colour. And I had intended to do some kind of stitched versions of these, but I just haven't had time this week. Also this week I've been working in this sketchbook. I'm not keeping up, but I will catch up eventually, with Tori's Abstractuary, so that's called Cookie Creatures. And what I'm finding is that the Abstractuary prompts are working quite nicely alongside things that I'm doing with my colour inspiration journal. So for example, this was the first prompt, which was the word shape, and so I just picked one shape, a bit like we did at the beginning of this project, but I picked a square or rectangle this time. And you can see I've just played around with squares there. I used just a harmonious colour scheme. So if you remember, I've got my colour wheel handy. What have I done with it? So yeah, a harmonious colour scheme would be, I've kind of used these. They're colours that lie alongside each other on the colour wheel. And then I just, for my pop, I used some dense black and these little pops of gold. And then the next prompt was reflect, and I just went with my one colour again. So my one colour was green and my one shape was circles. I've kind of left those behind now, but I still quite enjoy playing with the different shades of green, and I do love a circle, so I just played with those again to do my reflect prompt. I've left Matisse because I've been doing these downstairs in the evening and I just didn't have, I want to do it in Mod Podge and tissue, so the prompt for this particular day was monochrome, so I just went blue. You get a monotone colour scheme in my mind can have black and white as well, so yeah, that was kind of just easy. And again, I was kind of still playing with that one shape, so it's still taking the ideas I've been doing here, but I'm just expanding on them, trying different things. This one was map, hopefully that's mappish. I was thinking about composition though. I was kind of going to go into composition a little bit in the colour inspiration journal, but I decided against it, so but yeah, I was here, I'm looking at things like groups of 3, I'm looking at the rule of thirds and all that kind of thing, so yeah. This one was juxtapose, so here I decided to, again you can see, I think that this has come out of what I've been doing here. I just love that. I've been playing with these scrolly patterns, and I love the gold, so here I used, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, there's a bit there, look, yeah. I started with that mustardy yellow that I've been using here, and then added some gold as well, and did those scrolly shapes, and then my idea was to juxtapose the organic flowy kind of colourful shapes with the stock black and white geometric checks in the background. So that's as far as I've got with that, but I have got ideas for the others, but I just haven't got time. That brings me to my little extra, not exactly a challenge, but a little extra exercise you might like to do this week, and that is to add wordage. So whether you're working in art supplies or you're stitching or you're felting, whatever you're doing, there are always different ways to add words and letters, and sometimes they don't have to have a message particularly. I just like the look of them. I've got a few examples in old art journals of mine, and I've got a few examples of bits and pieces you might want to gather up, and also I've got a couple of things online to show you as well. Let's first of all, let's look at these. There's just a couple of examples in these old art journals of the kind of thing. You know, if you're stitching, there are so many ways to bring wordage in. You get those lovely fabrics with all kinds of words printed on them. I love the ones that kind of look like newspapers and things, or they've got like really funky words on. I love seeing them in bits of slow stitching. You could also have a go at kind of a collage of wordage and then printing it like Fabulous Jax does. Fabulous Jax in the Discord community. Jackie Parry, you'll know her as in Facebook. So if you want to, I'm sure she would help you out if you wanted to know how to do this, but she actually uses a special fabric that will go through your printer so that you can print whatever you like onto fabric and then stitch it to it, which is brilliant. So you could do something like that. I've also, I did do a video a while back about image printing onto fabric. I'll try and remember to link to it. Make a note. One of the most successful ways I've found, and most sort of cost effective, was to use Reynolds freezer wrap, which has kind of got a waxy coating. You iron that onto the back of the fabric, cut it to size for your printer, run the whole thing through the printer, and then peel the paper off, and you've got a lovely soft, just feels perfectly normal fabric, but it's printed. I've got an inkjet printer, so it probably wouldn't be permanent, but if you're just doing slow stitching into it, it's fine. So you could, like, you know, put your own handwriting on it. You could print out any kind of wordage. So let me give you a few little ideas of the kind of things that I've done in my art journals. I love these. I get these old books and turn them into, put mixed media paper and turn them into art journals. Here we are, here's one. Now this is one that's been in my head for ages and I want to explore this further. So this is, just show you first what inspired this. Here we go. So where people stick flyers up and then they get torn off, like there, they get torn off and more get put over the top, and then they get torn off again and more get put over the top. You can see the kind of, I just love the look of that, and you don't see it so much these days because I don't think people do flyers so much, but I've always loved the look of that. and I think there's a lot of things you could do playing with that idea. So coming back here again, so this was something I did in an art journal ages and ages ago, just playing with this idea of torn away layers and little snippets of words, so it doesn't have to make any sense. It's the wordage is there as a design element, if you like, really. That's a bit of my own handwriting there. Just realised I didn't remember I did that. Anyway, so yeah, I really enjoyed doing this at the time. I really still like it to look at, and I think I'd like to play with a slow stitched version of it in some way. So that's that. I don't know if there's anything else. That's funny, look. Inspiration is everywhere. It reminded me, because kind of one of the basic points of this whole colour, sorry about my I'm really hoarse at the moment. One of the main ideas behind this whole project was to take inspiration from the world around us, find colour everywhere and just different ways of playing with it, and yeah, so it's funny that should come up. Here's another one with using different ways of using words. So I've got some old chipboard alphas in the back there. They're not actually saying anything, they're just there as a textural element, and then I've got these little cut pieces here and a different texture of word there, and that's actually kind of a foam thing that's cut from. Yeah, so it's just a different way. And then in the background I've got rubber stamps that have got other little wordage and letters and numbers and things on, and around here I've got this pretend scribbly writing. It doesn't actually say anything, but I'd love to do that in stitch as well. So I could do it in a disappearing pen and stitch over it, and then yeah, and there, oh yeah, I forgot I did this. You can see there I've actually got an alphabet stencil of some kind, and I've used texture paste and then painted over it, so you can see the letters there. So clearly I don't know what the prompt was for this page, but it's probably something to do with letters and words. Oh yeah, so this was I've got one here, I've just used little pieces cut out of old book pages, and I've used them as part of my collage. So it's another way to bring a bit of wordage in, a bit of text. I just love the look of text, whether it's big fonts or it's illegible handwriting or print like this. I just like the look that it brings, and you could just as well do this kind of idea with stitching or other crafts as with art journaling. Yeah, the more I look, the more I'm seeing. So that's it's a different kind of text paper there, isn't it? Bit of old dictionary paper there. And what did I have in this one to show you? And that one was just writing out the quote that inspired this piece. That's another thing you could do if you've done your pieces based on a poem, like Christine's amazing piece that she's doing, her mood board. It was a three-dimensional kind of vessel, which is another idea I want to explore. So Christine, just check out Christine's mood board video. Wow. But yeah, you know, Christine could just handwrite a little quote from her poem and then stitch over it and just bring that into her piece somewhere, for instance, just as an idea of yeah, you can see here I've used book paper and I've just picked out a little bit of it there to highlight. And I think I was trying to play with the idea that all of this is all golden, but the hidden treasure is this little plain little bit here. Yeah, I use words a lot. I almost feel like an art journal page isn't finished without. I think that meant to have words and I never could decide what the words were. That's just stamped letters, and then I've torn bits up. Obviously found this in a book or something. Some little scribbles of bits of writing there. That's one. That's an idea I've been playing with for ages. It's inspired by the children of Hiroshima, who made these cranes out of the sweetie papers that the American soldiers gave them. Yeah, I saw a little book with some of them in at an exhibition once, and it's never left me. And I tried to do this art piece it's got all texture paste and stuff there. So yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll put words in because they mean something. Other times I'll just use the letters like here. I think this is just a kind of a scribbling, almost illegible. Probably I was scribbling something, but it's nothing that needed to ever be read again. It was more there for the texture, really. But I love using words in that way too. Oh, I forgot about this one. Tom 3D printed these drain pipe things for me, and so I could stick them in to art journals. And then these were cut out of card. What I need to start doing though is writing down how I do these things. I don't know now how I got all these effects, so I'd have to do it all over again to find out. I love that. I must get Tom to print me some more drain pipes. I've got dies that cut these out, these thin metal dies. That's it, that's the end of the wordy ones. And then I got just a few bits here to suggest things that you could use. So just a bit of ephemera I've kept out of something or other. Scrapbook paper that's got wordage on it. More ephemera. These are scrapbooking days again. Different kinds of sticky alphabets. So I like the idea of perhaps putting a whole page of them together, all the different colours and different, you know, different textures of them and stuff. Some of these colours are in my colour palette. There's also the gold, which is in my colour palette, and these have got like a pink edge, and they've got that kind of pearly. Up to me, that reminds me of a china cup, so I might play with those. These kind of things are really good if you've got anything like that, or you can find these things to print off. This is an old newspaper. I got it for John's birthday, but it's ended up in my craft room because he didn't know what to do with it. So I might use a bit of this because it's just festering away in my collage drawer at the moment. Another idea is to use little beads with words on. So these are some beads. I think it was Jackie sent me these, but it might have been Deb. So and I've got alphabet beads as well, so if you're doing stitching things or felting or something like that rather than art journaling, or if you're doing an art journal, these are nice to make little charms to hang off the side of your art journal. There's a couple more things I've got, I looked up online to show you. So these are paper beads made of book pages. If you go on YouTube and look up paper beads or book paper beads, you'll see all sorts of different ways people do these. And I like just these plain ordinary ones, but you know, you can get quite fancy ones like that. I love these too. I just think it's such a lovely idea and a nice way to add to whatever kind of medium you're working in. What else did I have? Another idea would be to collect together. So these are ransom fonts. And if you type in free ransom fonts, some of them are expensive, some of them you have to buy and they're expensive. You can get some free ones. Or what would be really fun is to collect up your own. So, you know, go through some magazines and things and collect up the whole alphabet in different... there's no reason why if you took your time you couldn't find all the different letters in the alphabet, maybe even 2 of each letter. Collect them up, scan them if you've got a, you know, I've got a printer scanner. Scan them, print them onto paper or onto fabric. I think that would be really fun to use, and I think it's something I would use over and over again. I'm definitely going to have a go at this. And one other idea was word clouds like this. So I just love the idea of, so if you look at this one as an example, it's using actual words, isn't it? But it's just using the words as a design element, and I like the idea of making the words in there kind of fit what I'm representing. I think this is one of my favourites. To me, that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I love the monochromatic colour scheme. I love just that yellow with black and white. I love that it's the shape of a light bulb and it's talking about ideas. I just think that is one of the best word cloud things I've ever seen. I love it. And there are some really clever things as well, like this one. I'm sure these can all be computer generated now. There are probably apps you can use, but I would quite like to play with just doing this myself. That is my challenge to you. Collect up some wordage. Find a way to use wordage in whatever your medium or media you're working in. Find ways of bringing letters and words into it. Collect up a ransom font of your own, create your own, and print it off if you can. Maybe make some book paper beads. and to use in your projects. Perhaps sketch out some ideas of, perhaps just take one word, pick one word inspired by your mood board. So what would I pick? I could just pick one word like butterfly or bird or leaf, and play around with, maybe just write the word. Just first of all, just write the word. Perhaps think about, you know, what colour would I do it in? How would I? There's one that I did here that I forgot to show you, which is at the end of my Arty Fartober. So the prompt for this one was purple, and I was running out of ideas, so I just did the word purple and made it purple. You know, so just maybe just make one word really huge like that in your journal. One word in, or just do lots. You know, if you're enjoying it, do lots. And then I might have a go at a word cloud. I definitely want to put a font together, and I'm going to just collect up a few bits of text paper and things like that as well. I really want to I've been meaning to get around to trying this printing on fabric thing again for ages. So I might have a go at putting a couple of kind of collage sheets together, a bit like Jackie does. And I'll show you that next time. So that is my little exercise for you this week, if you want to do it. Got bad chest at the moment. Next week I will be back to show you how I've got on, sum everything up, and throw out your challenge to create a final piece or pieces inspired by all of the ideas and things that you've gathered along the way. I'm hoping that other people will be the same as I am. I'm just full of ideas from doing all this, just from this one mood board. I've got fodder for the rest of the year, to be fair. And I definitely want to carry on working in this journal, because I just think it's going to be something to come back to. And I know, just going back to my old art journals just now to pick out examples to show you, it just reminded me of things that, oh yeah, I forgot I was going to do that, you know. So yeah, it's worth just jotting these ideas down, and I think a journal like this is just a way to gather all those thoughts and ideas and not lose them. And then if you haven't got time to work on them now, don't matter, you can come back to them later on. Anyway, so that's it now. I need to go and get my bus. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that or felt inspired by it, and do keep sharing your progress, your projects, in the Facebook group or in the Discord community. I will put my link tree in the description box, so you can just follow that link tree and then click on the Discord button or the Facebook group button. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you again really soon.